So, first question comes from Dan, who asks, how do you estimate what sort of mortgage you can get if you're the sole director of a limited company? I'm not ready to buy yet, but having a rough idea would be helpful. And then, what can I do to bolster the value of the loan I get, for example, from investments, and how much they count? Well, that's a great question, Dan, so let's deal with them in order. Firstly, affordability for a sole limited company director. Most lenders will consider anyone who has more than a 20% shareholding as self-employed, but the assessment of earned income can differ from lender to lender, so it's really specific to each individual case. For example, some lenders need 3 years of trading and 3 years worth of SA 302s from the taxman, and they'll go on an average of salary and dividends. Some lenders will use an average and some will use the latest year, especially if the income is increasing. Now, some lenders don't even look at salary and dividends, but they look at net profit. In addition, some will take into account retained net profit and some won't. What all this means is that it's very specific to each individual case, and each case is unique. So the best advice that I can give anybody, and you, Dan, is to engage with us early and we'll formulate a plan together. And the next bit of the question is how to use investments to bolster the borrowing amount. It would be rare that any lenders would take into account any income from investments, with the most notable exception of that lenders are happy to take income that is already being drawn from your pension. But mostly it's just earned income that's taken into account when assessing affordability. So Dan, that's a brilliant question. Thanks very much for that, and I hope that that helps. Now, next question comes from Laura, who asks, I'm thinking about investing in property. Is it better to either improve your own home, buy a property to rent, or buy a property, do it up and sell it on quickly? Well, thanks for that question, Laura, but in truth, there is no one-size-fits-all answer, and much will depend on multiple variables. For example, how much readily available cash do you have to invest? Most buy-to-let investments will need about a 25% deposit. What's the medium and long-term goal? Is it to live in a better property now and take advantage of potential capital appreciation when it comes to sell? Or is it to generate income, or maybe it's to make a quick return? A bit more on that last one. If you're looking to make a quick return, that's not really an investment per se, rather that's property development. So as with Dan's question, best advice is to engage early, discuss plans and aspirations, and we'll formulate a plan together. Laura, I hope that helps. It's a really great question. So the last question comes from Dee, who asks, why were interest-only mortgages ever considered a good idea? Well, we could fill a whole day talking about this one. But the key here is that interest-only structure can be right for some people, not all, but some. The key is to have a plan and stick to it. Now, the issues, which are now pretty much in the past, stemmed from arranging a residential mortgage on an interest-only basis to make it affordable for the borrower. Now, this was never a good idea and was the reason why many came unstuck. Now, there are still, though, some very good reasons why interest-only is a reasonable plan. For example, buy-to-let investors where the loan can effectively be self-funding, or those that know that they will be getting a lump sum at some point in the future, or even those with plenty of equity who plan to downsize, normally on retirement. So not always a bad idea, but you do need a plan. And if the reason is that the loan is to make the loan affordable, well, that's never a good idea. Well, Dee, listen, thanks ever so much for that question. That's all the questions for now, but if you have a burning question that you'd like an answer to, just drop a note to dearjohn@yournextmortgage.co.uk and I'll do whatever I can to answer. See you next time.